Good morning, this is Judy from Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm here with Carly Mull. I'm so excited. She's teaching, retired store owner, but we'll get to that in a minute. Carly known us a long time, so I'm really excited that she's here. But I do have important information.
We have no audio. Hold on. Can you turn the mics on and off?
Turn them on and off?
Yeah.
Oh, because you used a different,
Yeah.
they were connected to mine.
How do you do that?
It's getting my voice, but not to anybody else's.
It's because I...
I have never done
For my time.
Well, aren't you in for a fun day?
Well, yes. I'm glad I didn't have to do this.
Okay. Are we there, Kyle?
Yes, we are.
We have audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All
No
right.
problem.
It's Judy from Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm here with Carly, who's going to be teaching a class for us today on her, what is it, maybe, several positions, several incarnations, several growths. So
Something like that.
I can't wait to hear about it. But I do want to tell you, this is very important. We are going to try new hours, additional hours. They start June 1st, tomorrow, July and August. Those hours are Sundays, 11 to 4, every Sunday in those 3 months, Thursday evenings till 8. So this is a test. This is a trial. If you want us to continue to keep those hours, please come and shop during those hours. We would appreciate that. The staff store, which is orders that are placed online, they are still Monday through Friday. So most of the time we can't give you answers until the store staff that take these shipping and packing staff comes in, and they work just those days. But the store will be open. You can come buy your Bernina and any fabric. We are working on events to hold at those times, some free stitch and some open studio time. So we're working on that. Look for that in the emails that are going to come up. Okay? So that's the big thing that's happening starting tomorrow. So
That's wonderful.
I know it should be good. We just hope, you never know what people, they say they want it. So we're going to try it.
A lot of work.
It is a lot of work and a lot of staffing.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So you know about work and staffing. And Carly, tell us what your first incarnation, how I met you was through Webfabrics in Purcellville.
Yes. So I founded Webfabrics in 2003 in Purcellville, and was store owner and made it grow into one of the biggest quilt shops on the East Coast.
Yep.
Until 2022 when I sold my business. You and I met most of the time at the Hershey quilt.
Yes,
So
we did.
Judy was very lucky. She had her booth right at the entrance, while I had to haul my stuff all the way to the back. And my booth was a big one.
Yes.
So I say, hi, Judy. Hi, Judy. Hi, Judy. Are you done, Judy? And I'm not done yet. So that was wonderful. So that's how we met. In 2022, I sold my business with the idea that I would have more time for volunteer work, for my family and for my own quilting. And that has grown into more teaching. I do make more quilts, and I wrote a book.
I do.
And the book came out in February this year.
And we do have them here. And we're very excited. This is what the class is based on today, right?
The class today will be the book.
This is great.
So what this really is, Freestyle Color Collage, maybe I can explain how I got into this.
Okay.
Because that will make it more clear for people. Like most people who do collage, I started with Laura Heine patterns in 2014. I made several animals, I made several flowers, then I did photo collages. And at one time, and it was in 2018, I wanted to make a fall quilt for a charity. And I thought I'd be smart, instead of making individual leaves. I didn't want to make a red leaf or a green leaf and a purple leaf. I wanted to have a little bit blended look. So I thought if I make a big, like cookie sheet, of fall colors, then I could put my template on top and cut out all the leaves.
Ah.
And after I had made this fall quilt, it was like, why am I even cutting this into leaves? It's obvious that this is a fall quilt. I don't need the object of a leaf. And that started this.
Oh.
So I do not need an object to make something. I think the colors can talk by themselves.
They do.
So that's how it started, and it's still growing in all kind of different directions. Colors is what inspires both of us.
Both of us, yeah. We're
I
very
think all of us.
Yep.
And I think that colors can tell stories.
Yes.
And this freestyle color collage, so without a pattern, it's more like improvisational quilting.
Yes.
It's instead of improvisational piecing, you do collage.
Mm-hmm. And you have to believe, when you do improvisational, you have to believe in yourself and not second guess yourself all the time.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So you have to believe in yourself. But because you use light, steam, and seam too, that is replaceable.
Movable.
When you don't like something, you just pick it up and put it somewhere else. So it's not like you have to rip things out. You don't waste anything. You can just try things. And that's very freeing.
Yes.
One of the biggest things I hear from people who take the class is how it is just making them creative. They get guts from it.
Yes.
And if you like it, you keep it. If you don't like it, you take it apart. You can make it any size. You can make a small block. You can make a large quilt.
Yes.
Whenever it stops, it stops. So there's no rule.
No, I love that. I love that. That's totally me.
I do too. I cannot make a quilt anymore that has 30 the same blocks.
Look at the color. Let's talk about this quilt. Now, this quilt you said is going to hang in a show?
No, this was admitted to Paducah this year.
Admitted to Paducah.
So this quilt is called Bouquet, and it's inspired by the vineyards in Northern Virginia. So I was biking around and I saw all these different wine of grapes.
Yeah.
And it's like wine people talk about wine and say, the wine is robust or it's bold. And it's like, how would that taste, look, and color?
Oh my goodness.
And so I started working with the piece of fabric. Actually, it's turned this way.
Okay.
So I started with these colors. And then this color, but that's a different color than this one for red wine. And this is a different one for that one. So I have no design. The fabrics just determine the flow of the colors.
And where do you find your fabrics? How do you find these pieces that you cut out of a pattern?
Well, I need a good shop.
That'd be us.
I can go to you right away. Yes. So usually I start with the fabrics of K Facet because he has bold designs and great colors.
Yes.
But the African fabrics that you carry, Australian fabrics are wonderful because they have unusual color combinations. But as much as you think that those bold fabrics are the main fabrics, there's actually a lot of basics and blenders in this. Because look at these. These are all fabrics that are not so particular in shape. But people don't see them because the eye goes to this.
Right.
The bold ones. And that one. And you start with those. But these in between, they make the sections bigger. And they connect to the other pieces. So those are important too. Actually, any kind of fabric will work as long as it's not a solid. So you can use batiks, you can use very old fabrics, you can use your favorite designer, you can use your least favorite designer, because at the end of the day, it's all color. Right. So sometimes when I'm working on an area like this, I'm looking for fabrics that have more of this color and that color. It doesn't matter who makes it. It could be Tula Pink, it could be someone unknown, as long as I have that piece of fabric.
Right.
And if I can find it, it means that that section is done. I have to go into another floor.
Oh, okay.
So it's
I mean,
really
I can
anything.
see the transition right here with all these, especially these right here going into here.
Yeah. So these fabrics, I call them connectors.
Yes.
They connect areas, and make the flow going. But this fabric is going this way. I could have made it this way. I could have made it that way. Right. It just happened to go that way. So I don't care about the design as much. I care about how the colors interact.
All right, let's hold this up so they can see it full on.
Oops.
So.
It's a very rich quilt.
Yes, it is.
So it really looks like wine.
It does. As one who consumes wine, yes, it does. Did you get a cow? Okay. All
okay.
Right. Let's talk about this one.
Well, this one is a more emotional one. My mother, she passed away last year. But she suffered from Alzheimer's. And in June of 2023, I visited her and her decline was really major. And I was just in shock how she was. She had become confused, sometimes angry, because she was aware that things were not right. And to deal with my own emotions, I started this quilt. So the idea is that this is my mother in her good years. She was good until 81, and she passed away at 87. So this is how my mom was. We had wonderful memories. She was a vibrant and very colorful person. And she slowly faded away to the disease. So you see here the first pieces of Alzheimer's showing up. And you see that the colors are moving from brighter to pale and then into this nasty one. Those pieces of fabric here that said, "Who are you?" And here's a fist. This quilt made it into Houston last year. It will also go to Sacred Thread. There's a lot of people that I've seen in front of this quilt crying.
Yeah.
Because many people recognize the process.
Right.
So I don't say anything, but people look at the colors and they recognize the Alzheimer's process.
Yeah.
And I think that is so amazing. That colors can do this. And it brings comfort. The quilt brought comfort to me. After I'd done this, I was in peace. But it was a way to just think about what really was going on with her and how to deal with that situation. And I quilt because I celebrate the good and the bad. Right. So like the bouquet is a fun one. Right. This is a not so fun one. But it's nice to have your personal experiences translated into color.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what we are. That's why we quilt. Yes. That's why we do this. And it brings us, it's like therapy.
It is.
You know, it's wonderful therapy.
Well, and Sacred Threads, I mean, we have supported Sacred Threads for a number of years. And it's just, to me, it's the feeling. Yes. And that they create what they're feeling. And yes. You can't.
I like that extra messaging.
Yes.
That it's not only pretty, you know, just a nice block, but it has a story, story behind it. Yeah. It's a story that inspires me. And it's a story that if people recognize that, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And it comforts them.
I actually have a question. I'm not typing it in.
Okay.
How did you limit your story recording for Sacred Threads to 3 minutes?
I didn't do a story recording.
They'll ask you to.
Well, then this is a good practice.
Yeah, we got you. We'll get you warmed up.
They will ask you to do a 3-minute explanation, and so there's an audio part to seeing the exhibit, so they can hear exactly what you just told us. So
I wrote an artist statement.
But then
they want to hear it in your words.
So
nothing like catching her live on Facebook Live with that one.
I have no problem talking about this quilt.
Well, that's why. How do you limit it to 3 minutes?
Yes. That could be. So it's wonderful. The quilt has had quite some honors. As I said, Houston last year. It has been in several Sakura quilt shows. I'm not sure where it ends up. But it's been amazing how it has reached out to so many people and comforted people.
Yes.
That's really very special.
And talk to us about the technique here, because I love this idea. My very first quilt, I fused my edges.
Yes. So I was reading a book. I saw a video of Susan Carlson, who is probably the most famous.
She's fabulous.
Collage artist, and she says, you know, instead of doing facing, which is not possible with collage because you have so many little pieces on the edge and that would stretch them. You could just glue your binding, and it's like, oh wow, that's nice, because then it looks as if there's no end.
Right.
So it keeps it open. Yes. It keeps it open. Where in this quilt, I did a traditional binding. I could have done that here too. The problem is that another quilt that I made, Abundance, had also this binding, and the quilt judge, it was in Hampton, Virginia, said it would be better if you would do a regular binding. Now, I don't think it's better, but it's different. So what you do is you can match the color of your pieces, and then glue it on the top, and then fold it over and glue to the back. Yeah. And it creates this, I think, perfect edge. Now, I have to say it is a little bit more fragile than a traditional binding. When you take quilts with you to shows, I have to be extra careful because it's not a double folded binding like you have
like that for traditional.
Traditional. Yeah. But I love the effect that it has. And like here, if you do a regular binding, what would you do? You know, you want to have the effect of the bride to bleach colors to the gray, not broken up by a black frame or a blue frame.
No, yeah.
So this is just, I think, the way it has to be.
Right. I agree.
It works.
Very cool.
For me.
Yeah.
And that's important.
I love that idea. I really do.
It's nice. But Susan Carlson calls it her wrap and glue binding technique, and she gets all the honor. I explained it in my book, but she has a wonderful YouTube video.
She does. Oh, great.
Yes.
Great. Where are we on time? Are we okay? How about, would you like to show us some more quilts?
Sure. Let's see which one you would like to see.
You have to pick them.
Okay, well, let's do this one.
Okay.
It's a totally different color.
Yes. Oh, and look at that binding.
Okay, turn around.
This way?
It goes this way.
Okay.
So this shows you as organic or as freestyle collage my quilts can be. My only goal with this quilt is not to use blue. Blue is my favorite color, and I tend to go towards blue in my quilts all the time. So I have a lot of reds because I love Cape Faceted fabrics. So these kind of fabrics, actually this lotus leaf is my personal favorite print of it. So I wanted to use these fabrics, but I was not allowed to go to blue. As I had made the quilt almost finished, I saw that there was a purplish line coming up here. And it's like, oh, it cannot go to blue. And I like that purple line because it gave some pop to everything else. Mm-hmm. And then I cut open the quilt and put it on a purple background. And then this crack showed up. Oh, so this quilt is called the crack. There's no way that I will have the intent to make a crack quilt. But it shows you that fabrics can tell you something. Now here I did something unusual, to give, contrast with the main quilt. I used just solids, around it for a border. That looks like the crack is being caused by these, almost like wood bars. So it's just a totally fun quilt. I never know what I'm going to make.
Well, and that's a really important point, is to, many quilters are so used to having a plan and having a schedule, and this is how many it is, and this is, and you like me, let the fabric talk to you.
Yes.
And the fabric is going to tell you what direction it's going in, and you have to let that happen. I
am a non-stop conversation with my fabric.
I know.
I can tell you very often the fabrics win.
Yes.
Then I'm convinced I'm going to use this fabric, and I'm going to put it right there. And the fabric says, no, Carly, no, Carly. It's not going to be there. It has to be somewhere else. And the fabric is always right.
It is.
It keeps you very modest.
Yeah.
It's also, there are things that I could not imagine that I would make myself. The fabric makes this quilt.
Yes.
There's no way that I had a design that I would do this. And the crack shows that. I mean, who would make a crack quilt? You wouldn't.
Yeah, but you adapted and you went with it, and it talked to you, and I try to explain that to people too.
So when this quilt got into a show last year, I said sometimes things are better because of imperfection.
Yes.
That's the meaning of the crack.
All right.
Because the quilt became better because of that crack that came in there. And so sometimes, you get a story after you made the quilt, but it's not like a kit where you see the pattern and this is what you're going to make.
Right.
You are on an adventure with your fabrics. Right. And that does take some guts, and it's not for everyone.
Yes, correct. You need to be a little bit brave, and you have to just go with it. It does.
But the biggest award is if those people that are feeling a little stuck are taking a class, in their personal life or in their quilting life, they take the class to have something totally different.
Right.
And then when they see they can make something like this, they are feeling encouraged. And that encouragement is not only in the class, but it's also outside.
Yeah.
And that is the most rewarding experience as a teacher that you can get, that you help people get out of their
block and try something different and get out of their own head. Like a lot of us need to get out of our own head every once in a while.
It's thinking outside the box. I'm not such an alternative person that I think we should be out of the box all the time, but there's place for that.
Yeah.
And it can be good sometimes. And I think just the joy that it brings me, that the fabric can surprise me, is just,
I just
wonderful.
love the colors. I mean, I just fascinated.
I do too.
And
lay that down because I think that the border.
So, and this is a decorative stitch. Maybe we can talk about my quilting, Judy.
Oh, yes.
Because I have a very special way of quilting. If you look at it, I outline each and every piece of it with matching thread as close as possible. And it's an uneven zigzag stitch. It's a free motion zigzag. Now, if you go to your sewing machine, you will probably have the stitch at 4. On my Janome, it's a 4. And I make it smaller to 1.5 or 1.6.
Okay.
And that makes it like an uneven line. So you don't see the zigzag. And because it's free motion, you go back and forwards, back and forwards. So it makes it like a little bit like thread painting.
Yes.
And it looks very organically. I think it fits the quilting of the piecing or the collage really well. But everything has been stitched down with this matching thread. So every quilt has like 80 or 100 pieces of thread in it.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have thread.
Yes, yes, thread downstairs. So I have those too. So, and I use them. I mean, I could not have just one color red. I need lots of different threads for here. And that's fun. And I did that with the solids here as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the stitch really well.
Yeah, that's really unique.
Looking at it from a distance, I actually thought it was like frayed fabric, that you had torn the fabric rather than cutting it. So to see up close the stitching is just
very,
awesome.
very.
So it's a variegated thread that I used here. And I go up and down. So it becomes very free and spontaneous.
I think it always looks better when you go up and down or over and again. And
I
think it just makes a lot of sense.
But actually, it's also very easy compared to any other quilting. First of all, you don't have to come up with the design. How am I going to quilt it? Because I outline all these shapes.
The fabric tells you again what to do.
Exactly.
I love that.
I do too. And then you can go wrong. Even if you don't really like the color, you can go with another color over it again. Yeah. It's so forgiving. It's something you can try. And I hear that too from students that have a hard time with quilting things or free motion quilt, that this is something they can do.
Right.
And I think it looks nice. Not for every quilt, but for these kind of freestyle color collage quilts, it's amazing.
When I talk to people about free motion, they're always, some people start with a plain piece of fabric. And I'm like, oh, no. Let's start with something that's on it. Let's give you some guidance and some lines and always go with a piece of something that's patterned. That makes a lot of sense. And, I have to say that most of the time with my Bernina, I love my Bernina stitch regulator. I'm doing a straight stitch and I know I can do a zigzag. So I got some things to try.
I think that the, stitch regulator is in a way blocking me a little bit.
Yeah.
I rather not use it for these kind of quilts. I make other kind of quilts and then I'm glad I have it. Don't get me wrong. But for this, it's nice that it's not so perfectly straight.
Yes.
Because it gives you that free motion look in it. And I think it matches the thread. So again, this is then color because the fabric or the thread matches the fabric. So it blends the whole section even better. So,
and you're using 50 weight, or have you ever gone to 12 weights? Or
I have 12, I have 35, I have 40, I have 50, I have 60.
All of them.
Of course, not 80 or 100, because you wouldn't see it.
Show. Yeah.
I want to see it. But like a main print like this, I would use a thicker thread if I have it.
Yeah.
So not every color is available in every color. So color is guide number 1. It needs to be the right color. And then if it's a main piece in the quilt, it gets a thick possible thread as I have.
Okay.
And if it's not such a main one, like this one, this piece of red, so that needs to have a matching color red, but that will not get size 12. That will get a 50 or 60. But this one is different from that one, is different from that one, is different from that one. So this creates a total blended look.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of detail.
It's wonderful.
So it looks very spontaneous, but I'm very particular about placements. I will teach the class. And I'm very particular about the color thread. So it's not like, oh, you can use any thread. Yeah. So I say to students that don't have much thread, then do like Laura Heine does do a regular line quilting and just outline the ones that you do have. Yeah. But over time, just like with fabrics, you start to collect threads.
Yes.
And
yes,
I know you have wonderful.
I do.
Wonderful has fantastic
threads. Yes.
And I have students who are doing some hand quilting on it, and you can use those threads.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, this is just what I do. You should see my students.
Oh man, I can't
they are creating wonderful pieces of work, and it's like, who is the student here and who is the teacher?
Right.
So,
right. Sometimes it's all together at the same time.
But that's okay. It's about sharing our love and passion for fabric.
Yeah.
And it's not a competition.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
it's not a
Kyle, did you have a question?
Yeah, there was a request to see the back.
Oh. So when I quilt only the top and the batting. And there will go a fake back on the back. So that's because you have all these different threads that you use on the top. And I am not going to tie all these knots on the back. Now that is not always allowed for a quilt show. The judges want to see quilting. So you see some very, very, very minor quilting on this.
Okay.
Just to say, yes, it has been quilted. So I play with
police, you know.
I know there's quilt police, but I'm not doing it for the quilt police.
Right. You're doing it for some other reasons. Yes, yourself.
So these are wall hangings. So if you use so many threads and have to tie them all down to the back, I don't think that makes any sense. It's a waste of my time. Already it takes me more than a month to quilt.
Okay.
But yeah, I have to do what the judges like. So here you see too. So just a little bit.
I love that.
It's just, you know, that's me. What can I say?
So actually, there's a great comment. It says, I love seeing my two favorite quilting shop owners together.
Aww.
That was really nice.
Aww. That's really nice.
Marianne. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I know everybody's anxious to come for the class. We did add, due to popularity, another class in November, and I think there's still a few spots left in that.
I think
it's filling up fast.
I think they have already 14 students.
And Carly and I are going to work on next year too.
We will do something. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a creative day. Thank you.
That's wonderful.